We did it. Inflation is now over. Yeah, honestly, I'm really surprised by the market's reaction to the CPI results last week. And while the numbers were better than expected, I think a 5% gain on the S&P in a day is not really healthy. But who knows? Maybe it is. Anyway, also last week we went 3 for 4 on our earnings predictions, and that brings our total tally to 4 out of 5. So let's see if we can get some correct predictions again this week. Honestly, the earnings reports for this week are pretty boring, with the exception of Nvidia and in-person clothing stores, which I'm not sure many people even shop in these stores anymore, let alone invest in the companies, unless you're like me and we're suckered into the BBY squeeze, and that's what we'll call it. Some of the highlights, though, include Tyson Food, Walmart, Home Depot, Macy's, Nvidia, Advanced Auto Parts, and BJ's. This week, though, I'm just going to be predicting the Advanced Auto Parts and BJ's will beat the earnings, and due to the current ambiguity in the semiconductor industry, I'm going to talk about a possible gamble, options play on Nvidia's earnings this week. So yeah, Advanced Auto Parts is going to beat the earnings expectations. Two other companies in the same industry, O'Reilly Auto Parts and LKQ Corporation, beat their Q3 earnings expectations. And Earning Whispers also predicts that Advanced Auto Parts will beat their earnings as well. And it all makes sense. With rising costs, people need to cut their personal spending. So instead of going to get the oil done by somebody else, they're being driven, pun intended, to buy equipment and do the oil changes themselves. Which honestly, if you want to save money, don't cut out your coffee. Learn to fix your car. Later in the week is BJ's earnings. BJ's is a knockoff version of Costco. They even copied the $4.99 rotisserie chicken. Unlike Costco, though, they haven't had any scrutiny about their treatment of the chicken pre-rotisserie. But Costco did beat their Q3 earnings expectations, and I think BJ will follow suit. The consumer needs value, and wholesale warehouses provide that value. Also, Earnings Whispers expects better than expected earnings per share, so we'll just go on that and say, yeah, BJ's will beat their earning expectations. Now on to the most interesting play this week, I think, which is with Nvidia. Honestly, I don't know really what to make of this stock. Last quarter, they lost a big red again, except this time it wasn't AMD, it was the federal government, as they prohibited them to sell their tech to China. And I think that this prohibition will continue to weigh on their earnings for this quarter as well. The past month, Nvidia has had around a 5% movement in its stock price each week, with last week seeing a 14% change in the stock price, which is pretty massive. Volatility tends to be more pronounced during earning weeks, though, so I would imagine that a larger than 5% move is expected. The implied move this week is around 9%. So if we can find a strategy that takes advantage of a possible move in stock price of around 9%, then I think we're in a pretty good situation. And as it turns out, there is, and it's called a strangle. I'm not going to bore you with necessarily how they work, but if you want to know, let me know in the comments below. But essentially, as long as Nvidia goes below $149.36 a share, or above around $178.15 per share, then our strangle will be making money. Just an interesting play to consider during earnings. Well, that's all for this week. Hopefully, I will go 3 for 3 this week on my predictions. There should be another earnings prediction video next week where I will do the same thing, but for different stocks, obviously. Let me know what your thoughts are for this week's earnings in the comments. And if you like this video, it would be pretty neat if you left a like and subscribed as well. But anyway, happy investing.
This is not financial advice. Every